Seniors, if you saw a video this week telling you the Supreme Court just handed down an 8-to-1 ruling protecting your Social Security, capping your drug costs, and rewriting nursing home law overnight, stop right there. Because it is not true. There is no Elder Care Protection Act. There is no 8-to-1 Supreme Court decision doing any of the things you were just told. What you saw was a fabricated story, dressed up to look like breaking news, spreading across YouTube in nearly identical copies right now, and it is designed to get clicks off of the people least equipped to fact-check it in real time. That is not journalism. That is exploitation. And today we are going to break down exactly what is fake, exactly what is real, and exactly what the Supreme Court actually did this term that touches your life, because the truth matters more than a comforting lie, and you deserve better than being used as bait. Here's what you need to understand about how this fake story is built, because once you see the pattern, you will start recognizing it everywhere. Search around, and you will find multiple channels, different names, different faces, publishing videos with almost the exact same title, Supreme Court rules 8-to-1 on major elder care case. Same structure, same breathless tone, same promise that your Social Security check is about to get bigger, your drug costs are about to shrink, and your nursing home problems are about to disappear because 9 unelected judges just fixed it all in one ruling. There is no such case on any real docket. There is no Elder Care Protection Act moving through Congress that the Supreme Court just blessed. This is a manufactured narrative, almost certainly generated with AI tools, built to mimic the feel of real news without a single verifiable fact underneath it. It borrows real anxieties, drug prices, nursing home neglect, Social Security erosion. Because those anxieties are real and justified, then it bolts a fake legal victory onto them. Because hope sells better than dread, and a story that tells you the fight is already won and the money is already coming keeps you watching until the very last. Second, that is the business model. Outrage gets clicks, so does false hope. And right now, somebody figured out that seniors searching for good news about their benefits are an audience that will watch all the way through, share it with their family group chat, and never think to ask where the actual court opinion is filed. Ask yourself why this particular lie works so well. Because the answer says something uncomfortable about how our institutions have failed people over the last few decades. Seniors in this country have been burned again and again by a system that moves slowly, explains itself poorly, and treats plain language like it is beneath the dignity of government business. When you have spent years watching Medicare paperwork pile up, watching pharmaceutical companies charge American families triple what they charge families in Canada for the same pill, watching cost of living adjustments fail to keep pace with the price of eggs and insulin, you become primed to believe the moment somebody tells you the cavalry finally arrived. That is not gullibility. That is exhaustion. That is decades of legitimate grievance being weaponized against you by people who never intended to fix anything and only intended to farm your attention. And the platforms hosting this content know exactly what they are rewarding. An algorithm does not care if a claim is true. It cares if you watched to the end, if you commented, if you shared it with your sister in Ohio. A fabricated ruling promising drug price caps and nursing home reform checks every box that keeps a video alive in the recommendation engine, and nobody at the top of that chain is being held accountable for what gets pushed into your feed. If you have already shared one of these videos, do not feel embarrassed, feel angry, and then feel motivated, because the next section is about arming yourself with what actually happened, so this does not happen to you again. If this kind of accountability reporting matters to you, hit subscribe right now, because calling out exactly this kind of manufactured nonsense before it costs people real money and real trust is what this channel exists to do, and there is more of it coming. Let us talk about what the Supreme Court actually did this term that touches elder Americans, because the real story is not the comforting fantasy that got fabricated. The real story is more complicated. And in at least one major case, it cuts the other way entirely. In June of 2025, the Supreme Court issued an 8-to-1 decision in a case called Stanley versus City of Sanford, Florida. That is a real case, decided by real justices. And it is worth understanding because it is the actual ruling that the fake videos appear to be riding on the coattails of, just stripped of every true detail and replaced with fiction. The case involved a retired firefighter named Katrin Stanley, who left her job in Sanford after being diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. When she started working for the city back in 1999, the policy on the books promised subsidized health coverage until age 65 for any retiree, including those forced out early by disability. But the city quietly changed that policy in 2003, and under the new rule, only employees with 25 years of service kept that extended health coverage. Stanley did not have 25 years. She sued, arguing the Americans with Disabilities Act protected her from this kind of post-retirement discrimination. The Supreme Court disagreed, 8 justices to 1, ruling that the ADA's protections apply to people who are currently working or actively seeking work, not to retirees managing benefits after they have already left the job. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was the lone dissent, and she argued forcefully that this reading guts protection for disabled workers at exactly the moment in their lives when they are most vulnerable to having benefits quietly clawed back. That is the real 8-to-1 ruling from this term, touching elder and disability issues in America, and it is the opposite of a victory lap. It is a warning sign that retirees, especially those who left work early due to illness or disability, have less legal protection over their promised benefits than most people assume, and employers now have a clearer legal path to modify those benefits down the road, with far less exposure to a lawsuit. Now let us talk about how this connects to the fraud problem, because the fake ruling videos are not happening in a vacuum. They are happening inside a much larger and very real epidemic of financial exploitation targeting older Americans. And that is the part nobody is fabricating for clicks, because the real numbers are already horrifying enough. Every year, tens of billions of dollars are stolen from seniors in this country through scams that follow a predictable pattern: create urgency, invoke a trusted institution, and demand action before the target has time to verify anything. A fake government ruling promising new benefits fits that pattern perfectly, even when nobody is asking you for money directly in the video itself, because the next step in a scheme like this is often a follow-up message, a phone call, or a link claiming to help you. Claim benefits that do not exist, and that is where the real financial damage happens. Real scammers impersonate the IRS, impersonate Medicare, impersonate Social Security representatives. And they count on the fact that a confused, hopeful senior who just watched a video telling them new money is coming will be an easier mark for the follow-up con. Banks and credit unions have compliance protocols that flag unusual account activity on senior accounts, and federal agencies do run real elder fraud units, but none of that protects you if you are the one who initiates contact based on a video that sent you looking for benefits that were never real to begin with. The National Elder Fraud Hotline is a real resource, reachable at 833-372-8311, and it exists specifically because this problem is large enough to need a dedicated federal response, not because of some fictional court case, but because real people are losing real retirement savings to real criminals every single day. So here is what you actually do, starting today, and this is the part that matters more than anything else in this video. If you want to check your actual Social Security benefit status, go directly to ssa.gov and log into your own account. Not a link from a video, not a link from a text message, not a link from an email claiming to be from the Social Security Administration. Type the address in yourself. If you want to check your Medicare coverage, drug costs, or plan details, go directly to medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE and speak to an actual representative. Every state has a state health insurance assistance program, known as CHIP, and these counselors are free, unbiased, and have no financial stake in what they tell you, unlike a YouTube video monetized by watch time. If a video, a phone call, or a piece of mail tells you about a new benefit tied to a court ruling you have never heard, verified anywhere else, treat that as a red flag, not a reason to celebrate. Search the actual case name. Search the actual justices. A real Supreme Court decision has a docket number, a written opinion, and press coverage from actual legal reporters, not just a wave of nearly identical YouTube uploads with stock footage and no-name sources. If you cannot find the primary source, the ruling probably does not exist. And that single habit, checking for a primary source before you believe or share anything, will protect you and your family more than almost anything else I can tell you today. If you have parents or grandparents who watch a lot of this kind of content, sit down with them this week and walk through how to verify a claim before acting on it. That conversation could save real money and real heartbreak. And if you want more of this channel, calling out exactly this kind of manufactured misinformation before it costs people, make sure you are subscribed. Drop a comment telling me if you have seen one of these fake ruling videos yourself, and share this with anyone in your life who might have already watched one. Here's the uncomfortable truth underneath all of this. The people manufacturing fake Supreme Court rulings are not doing it because they care whether your drug prices come down or your nursing home gets safer. Staffing. They are doing it because your attention has a price, and hope sells. Real accountability journalism means telling you the ruling that actually cuts against retirees, the Stanley decision, even though it is a harder story to tell than a fake win. Because you deserve the truth, whether it is comforting or not. It means telling you that the fraud epidemic targeting seniors is real, ongoing, and does not need an invented court case to be dangerous. And it means asking you to hold every single source you encounter, including this one, to the same standard. Show me the primary source. Show me the actual ruling. Show me the actual docket number, or I am not sharing it and I am not believing it. That standard is not cynicism. That standard is respect. It is the difference between treating you as a target to be farmed for engagement and treating you as a citizen who deserves the real story, even when the real story is messier and less satisfying than the fantasy. If this video helped you spot the con, or helped you understand a real ruling that actually affects retirees in this country, do the one thing that actually matters for channels doing this kind of work: subscribe, hit that like button, leave a comment with what you want investigated next, and send this to the people in your life who are most likely to have seen one of those fake videos already. The truth does not need to trend to be true, it just needs someone willing to say it plainly. That is what we do here, and we are not stopping.